is Ray.
And this is Andy.
And this is First Down Sports Podcast.
How's it going, Ray?
It's going great, Andy.
How was Christmas?
Christmas was fantastic. And yours?
Great. I ended up getting the cold that everybody has. So a few days following Christmas have been a little bit rough, but it was a great time. You got any big New Year's plans?
We are going to PEI. We're heading to Charlottetown, and we're going to see a performer at the Delta Hotel in Charlottetown.
Wow.
I'd love to tell you his name. I don't remember his name, but I know he's a artist from Dartmouth, Nova Scotia.
Okay.
On a big tour. He's got 3 tour dates over the next couple weeks.
I've asked a lot of people what their New Year's plans have been over the last 2 weeks or so, and this is definitely a first for a trip to the Charlottetown Delta.
Well, I'm hoping
Should be awesome.
that the Island Mariners come to join me at this event.
Hey, Donnie, be there.
Be a great time.
Yeah, all right.
Andy, this is our 2018 review. We just want to touch real quick on what we did in 2018, set you up for some ideas of what we're going to do in 2019, and then we'll get out of here.
Sounds good to me.
All right, let's kick it all off because the way our season kicked off this year, we did a live Super Bowl event at the Fox and the Hound. We decided we were going to go live for an hour and a half before the Super Bowl, and we found out very quickly how important it is to plan for an hour and a half show because we only had material for about 25 minutes.
Once again, you're altering numbers a little bit here, but it was a 3-hour show.
3-hour show.
It was
3-hour show. That's right.
It was a 3-hour show. I'd say that we had about an hour and 45 minutes worth of material. We were able to BS our way through another half an hour, and then I'd say the last 45 minutes were grueling. Absolutely grueling. So if we learned anything from that, it was a lot of fun. But I'm pretty sure I outlawed 3-hour shows.
3 hours is not going to happen
I said
again.
absolutely no chance anything goes over 2 ever again.
Yeah, that won't happen again.
That was rough. Yeah,
but stay tuned. We may have a 2019 Super Bowl show. We're waiting to confirm a few things with scheduling.
There you go.
Okay, some other exciting things. What are some other in February? February was an exciting month for us.
I believe that was Randy's road trip, wasn't it?
Randy's road trip. Randy Ambrosi came to Halifax.
Yeah, and we had a great day. We left a little bit disappointed, but things have definitely moved since then. But that just shows you how far back in this year did the excitement around a CFL franchise come into the Maritime start. We were going down there thinking we were going to hear that it was coming. It didn't quite happen, but everything that we heard there was positive, and it's only built on its sense. But that was a fun day. It was great to see Randy in person. And, and we've only gotten better news since that day, and things are full steam ahead on this CFL
Full steam
franchise.
ahead, and by the end of January, we're going to have another big announcement on where a regular season game is going to take place in Atlantic.
Yeah.
So we'll have some news on that in the next couple weeks.
Yep. Argos and Alouettes should be interesting.
Well, we're talking CFL, Andy. Why don't we talk about our CFL trip? We hit 3 Canadian cities in 3 days for 3 CFL games.
We did. Hamilton, then onward to Ottawa, and then wrapped it all up in Toronto, and then we stayed for a Jays game as well. We had all kinds of interesting times. I believe one of the highlights of that, would you say, was our trip to the rec room when I got you guys into the Ghostbusters VR?
We played Ghostbusters virtual reality, and at the same time, we had Jeannie B.
Yep.
take on the Toronto Argos in basketball.
Ricky Ray was there along with a whole bunch of other Argos, and Jeannie went over and she held her own against these guys that were really kind of dominating the basketball area for a while. They didn't want to leave, so they had a lot of practice.
Yeah.
She held her own for sure.
She did.
And just so you know, Ray, I checked the regular season schedule this year, and there is an opportunity for another East Coast 3 games, 3 days, 3 cities road trip. Now, I know that we got a pretty packed schedule for 2019. We've been talking Grey Cup. We may have to travel for the regular season game that's coming into the Maritime. So another 3-3-3 trip might be a little ambitious, but just to sweeten the pot for you a little bit to get you thinking about it. This year, we would have the opportunity to replace Hamilton with the city of Montreal.
Wow.
I'd say that's appealing.
That is appealing.
Not that we didn't love Hamilton, But I would definitely say the experience in Hamilton for somebody traveling to a game was probably at the bottom of the
At the bottom.
Yeah.
And we get to see Johnny Football twice this year because he's coming out to Atlantic Canada.
Yeah, let's hope he's playing in both of those games. You never know with Johnny Football.
You never know.
We'll see what happens.
Hey, another really exciting thing that happened in 2018, we decided through talking with the Moncton Mustangs that we were going to go over and capture some of the Moncton Mustangs games. And we didn't know exactly how we were going to do it. We just knew we were going to go and figure it out when we got to the field. That project with the MFL turned out to be quite exciting for First Down Sports as well as the league.
It did, and you're right. We had no idea what we were going to do. There were some very ambitious plans. Game 1 of the MFL season, which was Wanderers coming up to play the Mustangs, was quite possibly the windiest day of 2018.
It was.
So it wasn't the best day for us to be running around with mics and so on out there on the field, but we made it work, and we captured that day. We put out a video, and it kind of took off from there. And I think the pleasant surprise for us was that it wasn't just the Mustangs fans and players and their families that enjoyed this, but the other teams in the MFL, or at least most of the other teams in the MFL, there's still one we're still trying to get in there. They don't really like us, I don't think, but we'll see. See what happens this year. But yeah, they gravitated towards this show. We started getting feedback from them, and it really kind of blew my expectations out of the water in terms of how the MFL coverage was received. So, obviously we're going to have to up the ante a little bit in terms of the area that we cover for the MFL in 2019. There's a little teaser for you.
There's a little teaser, and the other teaser is, for those that don't know, there's 2 additional teams in the MFL this year. So First Down Sports Podcast is doing our best to help grow that league, and it's obviously working.
Yeah, and there's a second. Yeah, there you go. It's all us, right? There's a second team in Nova Scotia. That first team in Nova Scotia, we haven't quite been able to establish a relationship yet, so we'll try the other one.
Yeah.
But I'm very excited that there's going to be another New Brunswick team as well.
Yeah.
And by far the best name in the entire league, the Ducks.
The Ducks.
Love it. Yeah. Yeah.
So MFL, that was a great thing for us. We're going to continue that in 2019. Their season, Andy, is really right around the corner now. It's right around the corner.
I kept seeing Wanderers training camp announcements coming up like it's in the month of January.
Yeah,
so this
start
is coming
next
fast.
week.
Yep.
Start next week.
Yep.
Hey, we had a great high school season this year as well. Our high school fall football was fantastic, and a huge shout out to Denny Dwaron and his team. The predictions and the weekly rankings of the high school football, that went really successful for First Down Sports Podcast this year.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Denny, for taking the time to do that and help us cover high school. It was a huge hit. Thank you, Mr. Freeze, Coach Zen, and Sneaky Pete for providing their predictions. And man, those guys are good.
They were fantastic.
Like, if you compare their predictions to our NFL game predictions so far this year, I mean, wow. But yeah, that was awesome.
Now, they're not picking spreads, though. They're picking straight up.
Can you imagine what the spreads would be in that 10-man league? Woo! Let me tell you, we'd be taking the points quite a few times, I think.
There you go.
And then also another wonderful surprise from the high school season is we caught the eye of an aspiring podcaster, or potentially even news analyst.
He could be a TSN jockey before you know it. He'll be sitting on Sports Center.
This guy's potentially an anchor down the road, and that's Seth Foster, who reached out to Wray via social media, just saying that he watched the show and would love to be involved, and we got him involved. We also got him lost a few times, but he was willing to earn his stripes and go out there on those tough assignments.
He did, and Seth's parents were so appreciative that we got him involved. Now, I don't know if they were appreciative of the fact that he was lost or if he was involved in the project. Not sure what's going on at home with Seth, but listen, I really appreciate not only Seth, but your parents as well for the participation that you had with our podcast this year.
Excellent. Yeah, it's great, Seth.
Okay. Our AUS season, Andy, We had a AUS season was great for us this year as well. We grew into the league. I have some connections as a football official, but as early as just this week, I did an interview with an AUS running back, Jordan Sokolukchuk.
Yeah.
And he advised me that the players love what we're doing in covering the league. So it's great to know that we're making ways in with the AUS as well. And again, as a football official, I have a different relationship with the players on the field now, which was great from the podcasting side. So AUS is another great subject we'll be talking about in 2019 as well.
For sure.
While we're talking about college football, Andy, we can't forget to talk about the Vanier Cup.
The Vanier Cup was quite a trip, and it was an absolute blast. You guys have heard us talk about our trip numerous times, but I mean, yeah, we spent the entire day. I mean, Quebec City knows how to tailgate.
Yeah.
All right. It's a shame that that we can't have an experience like that at all the CFL cities in Canada. My goodness, that was fun.
That was great.
And then you and your referee buddies and all your connections managed to somehow, I still can't believe it, get us right on the field at the Laval bench, standing right there at the pylon for the entire game. What an atmosphere. The place was sold out, so loud. The helicopter flyover at the beginning, it was a great experience to be a part of, and I mean it ended just perfectly.
It was awesome
with Laval winning that game, and yeah, what a blast.
It was a blast,
and we survived that trip somehow.
It was great.
We think we all did.
We had a pretty good year as far as articles too. We wrote a few articles. I know my Moncton parking article after our CFL trip that had quite a few views, and I just want to go to all the people that argued with me on that trip or about my article. It's turned out I'm right. Things are working out fine in Moncton.
I guess, yeah. I mean, I'm hearing less negative things, no positive things, but fewer negative things. And I checked in. I checked in with our buddies over at the Wildcast just to get some numbers to help me out a little bit on this. And attendance actually to this point this season is up 22%.
Wow,
over last year. So that's an average of about 1,000 more people in the seats per game. And when you take into account that the new arena sits 2,000 more people than the Coliseum, and they're getting on average 1,000 more, I'd call that success.
I think it's success.
So, I really think that, that you were we talked about it ad nauseum when that article went out. But at the end of the day, the people that were going to be impacted the most by the parking downtown and decide not to go to games because of the parking downtown weren't going to go to many games anyways.
They weren't anyways.
So they're not seeing a huge impact. I guess my big article of the year was when I decided to sit down and write about my experiences of becoming a CFL fan. So, when I started this when I started on your podcast, my gosh, almost 2 years ago, now it'll be 2 years in the spring. I found us suddenly talking a lot of Canadian football and realizing, wow, Andy, you're an NFL fan. And you don't know the Canadian rules well enough. You spent your entire life kind of making fun of them, to be honest, and now you need to understand the game. So I sought out to understand the game, started to understand the game, started to love the game, and decided to write a blog about the things that I like the most about becoming a CFL fan and the things that I dislike the most. That got all kinds of traction. By far my most popular article. And I actually, somebody from the Toronto Argonauts staff ended up reaching out to me on behalf of Jim Pop, the GM, trying to get my phone number, wanting to chat about that article. Apparently, he appreciated the honesty. You don't see a lot of articles these days that talk about both likes and dislikes, right? So that was interesting. Jim Pop and I have yet to be able to connect, so I don't know if I'm ever going to receive that phone call. But it was a great article for me, and there may even be a part 2 at some point.
Part two.
There
you go. While we're one more thing I want to touch on before we get out of here, Andy, and that is 2018 was a great year for us as far as guests go. So I just want to name a couple guests that we had on this year. Once again, we had our Trevor Harris from the Ottawa Red Blacks. Yep. Al Gates, right? Famous referee here in New Brunswick for basketball and football.
Legendary referee.
Legendary. Number 19 from the St. of X-Men, Bailey Wasdale, quarterback, as well as Jordan Sokolukchuk.
Yep.
We had Dave Naylor from TSN come on with Tony Mancini. That was a great show for us.
Great day, yep.
Mike Graham from the Potsky Wee Wee and Greg Geddes from Atlantic Zone Coverage. Plus all our regular guests that come on. Ray Perkins, we can't thank you enough for all your CFL Insider. Adam Hotshot Lund for your support. And of course, my brothers, Chris Dunn and Nick Dunn, they were on for 2018 as well. So we have a lot more guests planned for 2019, and we hope to get some of these guys back on our show on a regular basis as well.
100%. Now, Ray, when we were talking yesterday, you told me you wanted me to come up with my favorite moments of 2018. Now, I knew that we were going to be talking at a high level about all of the big trips and the various things that we've done over 2018. So what I tried to do was I tried to zero it in on moments.
Yeah.
Okay? Interesting little moments that I'll never forget. And I've got a top 3 for you.
Top 3. Let's hear Andy's top 3.
All right. So number 3, it takes us back to our live Super Bowl show.
Yeah.
When we finally got through that grueling 3 hours, we actually sat down.
Oh boy.
We actually sat down to watch the game. And there was some moose light flowing. There was food. It was a great time. Lots of people around. And Ray,
Chris Dobson was there.
Chris Dobson was there. Too many people to name. And we, Ray's a Bills fan, so he loves when terrible things happen to the New England Patriots. And as you know, anybody who knows what happened last year knows how that Super Bowl ended. Well, Ray gets a little ambitious, gets a little excited from time to time, especially when the moose lights are flowing. And at the end of the game, in an act of celebration, while sitting right next to Curtis, the owner of the bar,
Fox and the Hound,
Ray decided that in celebration he would run and dive and slide across a long series of tables, all of which, like, each table had your whole ketchup and mustard set up and everything like that. Ray took off. He said, "Get the camera ready." I said, "You're not going to do this." I called him on his bluff, and up he goes, and he runs. And he picks up maximum Ray speed. We won't talk about how fast that is, but it's maximum Ray speed. He dives. He hits the first table. The slide commences. And then the logo on his shirt, the friction on the table just comes to a screeching halt. Legs lift up in the air in the end. And thankfully, no tables broke, and Curtis laughed harder than I did. So that was my number 3 moment. Number 3.
All right, number 2.
Number 2 also involves Ray. Also involves a table. So almost a year ago now, the Bills were in a playoff game.
First playoff game in 17 years.
And we were at what's his name? We were at another Bills fan.
Will Evans. William Evans.
I can't believe his name was escaping me. We were at his place for this game. I went over because, hey, my Browns weren't in the playoffs, so why not? I might as well go capture some things on video. At halftime, the Bills were still in it because it was a very low-scoring game, and it was Evan. His name's Evan, isn't it? Evan, yeah. So Evan decided in true Buffalo Bills fan fashion that he was going to break a coffee table. His wife was okay with it because she hated the coffee table. It meant she could get a new one. And he did a backflip through this, or no, a front flip through his table. After which the Dunns, all 3 Dunn brothers said, well, we have to capitalize on this. So all 3 Dunn brothers, Nick, Chris, and Ray, dragged this table outside and set it up in the backyard like it was never broken, and started pile driving each other through it, and you name it. And finally, when this table has nothing left, there's nothing left of this table, somehow we prop it up enough, and Ray goes Jimmy Superfly Snuka off the patio.
Off the patio. It's about a 15-foot drop. 15-foot drop.
Well, yeah, into... He jumps. He's probably 2 feet short of the table, so he just reaches out enough at the last second to graze this table with his elbow. The fact that it was broken about 30 times already, it crumpled over.
It crumpled.
Highlight of the party. Highlight of the party. All right. And my number one.
Number one. Andy's
moment.
number 1 moment, 2018.
CFL. 3 games, 3 days. Stop number 1. We're leaving Hamilton. Okay. This involves Jeannie B.
Okay, all Jeannie B.
We're in a rental car. We're making our exit out of Hamilton. And either somebody was eating a banana. And all of a sudden we go, well, what do we do with this banana peel? And Jeannie takes charge. And Jeannie B says, oh, give me that. No problem. I got this. And as we're driving down a pretty busy street in Hamilton, Ontario, Jeannie rolls down the window, puts the window down, says, "Ray, pull over a little bit." Ray scooches just over a little bit to the right, and Jeannie attempts a free throw with this banana peel from a moving car in the streets of Hamilton. Not even close.
Not even close.
Not even close.
Oh, that was downtown Hamilton.
Downtown Hamilton.
Downtown Hamilton.
The banana peel lands at some guy's feet, and Jeannie goes, "Oh, no problem. He'll put it in the trash. Keep going." It's the little things, folks. It's the little things. But when I was going back through my head at the memories of all of these trips, for whatever reason, that stood out to me as the most unforgettable moment. Just it was a you had to be there, folks. So, Jeannie, if you're watching this right now, I'm sure you're laughing too, and I'm sure maybe I quoted you wrong there, but did that sound accurate to you?
Sounds pretty good. I do. As you mentioned that, I do remember the incident on the trip.
Those were my top 3 moments.
We can't forget to thank Jeannie B because she's played such a huge role as not just project manager, but on set, off set. She plays a lot. She plays a big role in the background too, as well as Guylaine, who puts up with all this podcasting stuff and joined us on our trip as well.
Exactly. Definitely deserves much less thanks than Jeannie B, but sure, we'll throw her in there.
All right.
But Jeannie B definitely steps in and regulates our conversations from time to time about what we're going to do next, and it's greatly appreciated. Invaluable.
We also can't we can't forget to thank you for liking, sharing, commenting. It wouldn't have been possible what we accomplished in 2018 without you. Plus, we've had a couple really good partners over the year that have helped promote us as well. Across the line with Chris Dobson and Chris Corey. Thanks to you two guys for helping First Down Sports. And we can't forget the CBC Morning Show, Jonna Brewer,
yep,
who has had us on twice to talk CFL topics, which has been great for us as well. Good exposure. So hopefully 2019 we'll see those guys again on their shows and as well perhaps have them on our podcast.
Absolutely. We got to get Jonna here. I wonder if she's still awake at 6 p.m. whenever we record, considering she gets to work at about 4 a.m. or
4
something
a.m.,
like that.
yeah.
My gosh. Anyway,
Yeah.
we'll try. Anyway.
That's it, guys. That's your 2018 review. Again, just 2019. We're going to be continuing talk about the CFL franchise in Halifax. That expansion, Andy, I believe we're going to find out very quickly into 2019. It's happening.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to be hearing something soon. Again, the MFL with the second teams, AUS high school will be doing that again. And, of course, we got to put this on our list. It's the CFL Grey Cup trip for First Down Sports Podcast this year. What do you think, Andy?
I think I'll have to check with Guylaine on that.
All right.
That's all I can tell you.
All right, guys.
All right, guys. Happy New Year. If you have no plans, you heard the perfect idea from Ray. Head over to the Delta in Charlottetown. There's a performer he can't name there. I'm sure that sounds wonderful. But, yeah, thanks again, guys. Happy New Year. Happy holidays. All that fun stuff.
Thanks, guys.